Kenya's Martha Karua blasts Uganda Law Council for denying her a practicing certificate in Uganda.
The issue is temporary practicing certificate, and I'm saying I have received with dismay your letter dated the 6th December 2024 declining my application for a special practicing certificate. In your letter under reference, you raise several issues which require response, albeit for the record. You state that copies of my practicing certificate, letter of good standing from the Law Society of Kenya were not notarized. And further, my nationality documents and academic qualifications were not attached. You further take issue that my application did not attach Mr. Lukwago's practicing certificate. Rather than use these reasons to decline my application, one would expect that the Law Council would have asked for additional documents. Mr. Lukwago is not only a well-known personality as the Lord Mayor of Kampala, but a practicing advocate running a law firm. On the issue whether I bring any special skill, with respect, it is for Dr. Besigye and not the Law Council to determine and choose an advocate or advocates of choice. It is his constitutional right, while your role is to use your discretion under the Advocates Act of Uganda judiciously.
Madam Martha, that is Uganda. That is Uganda under a dictator. You said one day when we were in Kenya that now in East Africa we have two dictators, Museveni and Ruto. Now the dictator, they are at work.
You cast aspersions on me, claiming that I held out as a person holding a valid practicing certificate in Uganda when I attended the court-martial hearing of Dr. Besigye's case on the 2nd of December 2024. This is totally untrue. As a visiting jurist, I sat with Mr. Lukwago, who introduced me to the court, and those who are there will attest to this, as the lead counsel of choice for Dr. Besigye, and informed the court-martial that I was still waiting for a practicing certificate to be able to take up my position as team leader. That actually was the reason why the case for Dr. Besigye and Mr. Lutale was adjourned to tomorrow. So to claim that I held out is totally untrue. Law Council got such information from. I take great exception to this founded allegation by yourselves, which constitutes an attack. Unfounded allegation by yourselves, which constitutes an attack on my character and integrity and undermines the spirit of the East African Treaty. As a citizen of Jumuiya and a jurist, I accompanied Mr. Lukwago and other advocates to the Chief Justice's chamber to inquire about the ruling which has a bearing on Dr. Besigye's case and which is almost 4 years old. We visited those chambers to see the Chief Justice in his capacity as the top administrator of the judiciary. I do not agree that I need a practicing certificate to ask an administrative question. As for taking issue with my robes, that I went robed, That's why I have come to the press conference robed. These are my robes. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, a state within the Jumuiya, conferred with the rank of senior counsel. I can wear my robes anywhere, including to the market. So I do not see how that has a bearing on the issue of a practicing certificate. Finally, I'm saying your tone, disparaging and personalized attack on my person and character does not bode well for the Jumuiya and for other people visiting Uganda. You would imagine that the president of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, being a staunch advocate of the Jumuiya, and now it is Uganda, treating in an unexpected manner a jurist from Kenya, and a senior counsel at that. We would expect that the law counsel would use their discretion judiciously in determining whether to grant a license. At this time, we will retreat with my colleagues who are local, because I think there are critical issues that are raised by the response by the law counsel, which actually go against the laws of Uganda and the East African Treaty. And we shall definitely be taking further action. Tomorrow I'll be accompanying them to court. I don't have to be a lawyer in the case now that I've been denied a license. I will go as an observer, and I'll go robed because it's not an offense to wear my robes. I studied to be able to wear these robes, and I'll wear them wherever I want. But finally, one thing we must say when considering an application for a visiting lawyer, I think one of the cardinal issues is to facilitate an accused person to have counsel of choice. Counsel of choice doesn't mean one lawyer. It could be 100. And I am hoping that there will be more lawyers than there was in the other case, because then they are able to study, research on various aspects of the case, and contribute to the case at hand. The charges leveled against our friend, colleague, because he practices politics like I do, and practicing politics is not an offense, because the law counsel says that I'm here not just as a lawyer, but they think there is a political agenda. The case itself is a political agenda. How can you divorce politics from the law? The two are so closely related. Leadership is a political agenda. Issues of whether the military court can try a civilian are so political as they are legal. I don't want to go beyond that, but we'll keep marching on. I also want you to know that today we have a colleague lawyer from Angola who is making her way here. It's part of the reason why we delayed you a little. There are also several lawyers from Kenya, and one of whom have applied for a practicing certificate. I will advise him maybe not to rob so that he may not be denied. So there is no question of saying there is no leadership. The question is, will Besigye get lawyers of his choice? And it is not for anybody else to ask, what special talent do you bring? It's for Besigye under the Constitution and Mr. Rutale to ask, is this the team I want? Nobody else can ask that question. But don't worry about leadership. Like the military, we have leadership.
Martha Karua, Kiza Besigye, doctor, lead lawyer, lead counsel, who is denied a practicing certificate in Uganda. But she's an African, and we are in Africa, we are in East African community. She's in East African community. She holds an East African passport, but she can't work. She can't exercise her duties in Uganda. That's being with a dictator. Kenyans, forgive us. The guy who is leading us, who is ruling us, is a dictator. He respects nobody. He doesn't respect human rights. So that's General Kaguta Museveni. So he will never respect anybody. Oh. He thinks he's the god of Africa, East Africa. He will do whatever he wants because he has the guns. He has the power. He can decide for you to. He can decide you die or you live. I hear they call him God. And that in that capacity, that's why he is known allowing Martha Karua to get a practicing certificate, because he fears to be exposed. But he was already exposed. Who asked him to go and abduct Dr. Kizza Besigye from Kenya at the first place? So he did it himself, so let him pay for the repercussions.